Long before the pyramids rose above the desert sands, before the temples of Egypt were carved in stone, the ancient Egyptians told a story about a goddess whose fury nearly wiped humanity from the earth. Her name was Sekhmet, the Lioness of the sun, the bringer of plague, the destroyer of armies. But she was also a healer, a protector, and a divine force the Egyptians both feared and revered. Because once, according to their most ancient myth, the gods unleashed Sekhmet upon the world, and the destruction she unleashed almost could not be stopped. In the earliest age of the world, when the gods still walked among humans, the sun god Ra ruled over heaven and earth. Each day Ra sailed across the sky in his radiant solar boat, bringing light and life to the world below. He was the creator, the ruler of the cosmos, and the source of divine order that the Egyptians called Ma'at, the balance that kept the universe from falling into chaos. But even gods are not immune to time. The ancient texts describe Ra growing old. His bones were said to be silver, his flesh gold, and his hair the deep blue of lapis lazuli. Though he still ruled the heavens, humanity had begun to change. Over generations, people grew arrogant. Some mocked the aging sun god. Others whispered that Ra's power had faded. They believed the ruler of the cosmos could no longer see what they were doing. But nothing escapes the sun. Ra saw everything, and what he saw filled him with anger. So the sun god summoned the other deities to a secret council. They gathered in the hidden celestial halls, where the divine powers discussed the fate of the world. Among them were ancient gods who had helped shape creation itself. Ra spoke with a voice heavy with fury. Humanity, he said, had forgotten its place. The people no longer respected the divine order. If rebellion spread, the balance of the universe could collapse. Chaos would return. The gods listened carefully. They understood the danger. To the Egyptians, the world existed only because the gods maintained order. If humans disrupted that balance, the fragile structure of reality could break apart. Ra asked the council a question. How should humanity be punished? After long deliberation, the gods reached a decision. Ra would unleash one of the most powerful forces in existence, the Eye of Ra. The Eye of Ra was not simply a symbol, it was a living manifestation of Ra's divine power. The eye represented the fierce, protective force that defended cosmic order. This power could take different forms. At times, it appeared as the goddess Hathor, a gentle deity of beauty, music, and love. But the eye also had another face, a face of fury. When Ra wished to punish the enemies of the gods, the eye transformed into a terrifying goddess whose rage burned like the desert sun. This was Sekhmet. She emerged from the blazing power of the sun. Her body was that of a woman. Her head was the head of a lioness. A blazing solar disk rested above her brow. Her eyes shone like molten gold. The ancient Egyptians believed the lioness was one of the most dangerous creatures of the desert, a relentless hunter, silent, patient, unstoppable. Sekhmet embodied that same ferocity. She was the burning heat of the midday sun. She was the breath of the desert wind. She was divine vengeance made flesh. Ra gave her a single command: punish humanity. And Sekhmet obeyed. She descended from the heavens into the lands of Egypt. Where she walked, the air itself seemed to shimmer with heat. The desert wind howled across the sands. Those who saw the lioness goddess felt terror before she even spoke. Sekhmet began her hunt. She was not merely a warrior. She was a force of nature. Armies that tried to stand against her collapsed instantly. Cities fell silent. People fled across the deserts and mountains, searching for any place to hide, but there was no escape. Her roar echoed across the Nile Valley like thunder. The ancient text described the sands of Egypt turning red as Sekhmet slaughtered those who had rebelled against the gods. Blood ran through the desert valleys. The lioness goddess drank deeply from the carnage. Her rage grew stronger with every battle. What began as punishment soon became something far more terrifying. Sekhmet began to crave the destruction. From his throne in the heavens, Ra watched the devastation unfold. At first, he believed the punishment was necessary. Humanity had to remember the power of the gods. But soon, Ra realized something was terribly wrong. Sekhmet's fury had grown beyond control. She was no longer hunting only the rebellious. She was hunting everyone. Entire villages disappeared. Cities were abandoned. Fields that once grew crops lay silent under the burning sun. Humanity was vanishing from the earth. If the rampage continued, there would be no humans left at all. Ra had unleashed a force that even the gods struggled to control. The Council of the Gods gathered once more. They had to find a way to stop the lioness. But who could face Sekhmet? She was the living embodiment of the sun's wrath. Even the gods feared confronting her directly. Ra realized that strength alone would not stop her, so he turned to something else: cunning. Ra ordered that vast quantities of beer be brewed. Thousands upon thousands of jars were prepared, but this was no ordinary drink. The gods mixed the beer with red ochre pigment until the liquid became the deep crimson color of blood. The mixture was then poured across the land where Sekhmet hunted. Rivers of red liquid spread across the desert plains. Under the rising sun, the beer shimmered like pools of fresh blood. When Sekhmet returned to continue her rampage, she saw the crimson flood stretching before her. Her instincts took over. Believing it to be the blood of her enemies, she bent down and began to drink. She drank deeply. Again and again she drank from the red pools, but the liquid was not blood. It was beer. The intoxicating drink began to cloud her senses. Her burning rage softened. The hunger for destruction faded. At last, the lioness goddess staggered and collapsed into a deep sleep. When Sekhmet finally awoke, her fury had passed. The bloodlust that had consumed her was gone. The rampage had ended. Humanity had been saved. But the myth does not end there. Because Sekhmet did not disappear. Instead, she transformed. The same goddess who brought plague and destruction became a protector and healer. In ancient Egypt, Sekhmet was believed to have the power both to cause disease and to cure it. Her priests were among the most respected physicians in the land. They studied medicine, performed healing rituals, and invoked Sekhmet's power to drive illness away. To the Egyptians, this was not a contradiction. It was a reflection of a deeper truth. The sun itself carries the same dual nature. Its heat can nourish crops and bring life, but that same heat can scorch the earth and destroy it. Sekhmet was the living embodiment of that power. Across Egypt, temples were built in her honor. Hundreds of statues of the lioness goddess were carved in stone. Many of these statues still survive today. Rows of them once stood in the temples of Egypt, watching silently over the land. Even the pharaohs treated Sekhmet with deep respect. Before battles, rulers prayed to the lioness goddess for protection and victory. But they also performed rituals to calm her anger. Because the Egyptians never forgot the lesson of the myth, the forces that protect the world can also destroy it. Each year, festivals were held to honor Sekhmet and celebrate the moment when her rage was calmed. People drank large quantities of beer, dyed red, to resemble the blood that had once covered the land. The ritual was a reminder that chaos could always return, and that the balance of the world depended on keeping powerful forces in harmony. So the Lioness goddess remained one of the most feared and revered deities in Egypt, a destroyer, a healer, a guardian of cosmic balance, and to tell us that even the gods must be careful when they unleash the power of the sun, because once, long ago, that power nearly erased humanity from the face of the earth, and its name was Sekhmet.